We can do the land acknowledgement first. Kevin? Ed? Absolutely. Great Conservation Authority wishes to acknowledge the treaty and traditional lands originally occupied by the Indigenous First Nation peoples of the Anishinaabe, Attawandarock, and Haudenosaunee nations. ACCA strives to build meaningful relationships with Indigenous communities and recognizes the importance of respecting these treaties and lands. Now I can do the roll call. Okay. Todd Noble does send his regrets. Lori Baldwin-Sands. Present. Frank Burrs.
Present.
Jim Herbert.
Present.
Grant Jones.
Present.
Sharon McMillan. Present. Jerry Cribble.
Present.
JJ Strybosh.
Present.
Sam Trousseau.
Present.
John Wilson.
Present.
We have 9 of 10 members.
Perfect.
Okay, at this point, any declaration of pecuniary interest from the members of the board? I see none. Okay, the minutes of the meeting, we don't have any delegations anyway. Minutes of meetings from November the 19th, 2025, full authority meeting, and the recommended motion is that the minutes of the November 19th, 2025, full authority meeting approved. Moved by Lori and seconded by Jim.
Baldwin-Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Cribble.
Yes.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, second one is the recommended motion before us is that the minutes of the December 9th, 2025 executive committee meeting be approved.
Move it.
Moved by Frank Bears and seconded by John Wilson.
Baldwin-Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Cribble.
Yes.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, from matters arising, turn to Betsy for media report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As per usual, a few of our social media posts from the last month. We did start our sort of public campaign to raise awareness about the proposed consolidation. And the first post we did seemed to resonate. It was a map showing our watershed versus the proposed Lake Erie region, and it had over 84,000 views. Next is a project with the Invasive Species Action Fund, funding we received to tackle some of the woody invasive species at the Stanley Grove. So you can see here a before and after picture of tackling some of the woody invasives along that field edge. And lastly, just a number of articles in local newspapers about the proposed consolidation.
Okay, any questions or comments? I did notice that there was an article in the London Free Press this morning from what's that?
Lower
Thames.
Yeah.
Lower Thames. There's a lot of talk. Okay, project tracking.
Sure. So the seasonal camper renewal applications have been sent out, and we're continuing to collect fees for the 2026 year. Jennifer did a presentation last night at the Glenworth Lodge Oddfellows on freshwater protection, which we received. We're doing site visits for wetland creation projects and preparations for tall grass prairie. Herbicide treatment continues at Kirk Cousins Management Area in the Stanley Lyle Grove. And we're advancing new fiber internet cable connection here at the admin office, and various activities happening at both of the campgrounds during the off season.
Again, questions or comments? Nothing.
To the chair, I don't know if this is a good spot to ask a question, but what about the rental cabins? Have they been rented out rented for the summer now? The new cabins?
Yeah, through the chair to Jim, the rentals of the cabins or the reservations for next year won't be opened up until March 1st.
Thank you.
All right, watershed additions, Jennifer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lake Erie water levels continue to decline. Part of it is seasonal, part of it is just extremely dry conditions that we had this year. It's actually almost a meter lower than the 1986 record high, and it's trending below the long-term average. And the average is calculated from 1918 to 2024, so we're below the average right now. November rainfall, 47% of the long-term average fell, which is kind of a weird number at this time of year just because we get snow as well, so it's a little skewed number. That is about 40 millimeters for November. The outlook for December to February indicates normal temperature and precipitation for the region. And there still continues to be watersheds in low water condition. I believe there are 13 conservation authorities in level 1, 6 in level 2, and 4 in level 3, mostly in the eastern part of the province. That's it.
Okay.
Question
Question?
through you, Chair. Is the lake frozen? Have you checked, like, if it's frozen, then erosion will be down, right? If it's not,
I checked on Monday when I did a watershed tour. The harbor is open, kind of in the outer harbor out to Lake Erie, and Lake Erie was really wavy on Monday.
so it's not frozen.
It was the Great Lakes were, I believe they were about 6% frozen altogether. Lake Erie wasn't hardly frozen at all. There was maybe little patches here and there, but not really.
Good, thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then the recommended motion before us is the staff reports on matters arising A through C be received. Moved by JJ and a seconder, John.
Alden Sands.
Yes.
Spurs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Gribble.
Yes.
Drybosh.
Yes.
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, then we move on to correspondence. Resolutions read proposed consolidation of CA boundaries. Anything you wish to speak to about Elizabeth?
Chair, I think most of this will be covered off in the next report, but I
Okay.
just want to speak to the volume of resolutions that have been circulated to the CA, whether it's from neighboring CAs really across the province, as well as municipalities from across the province as well. During the resolutions and the discussions that they're having at their councils and boards.
Okay. And I see statement of revenue and expenses, there's no report.
That's correct.
So new business, the first one is the draft response to ERO posting number 025-1257, proposed boundaries for regional consolidation of Ontario's Conservation Authority.
Sure. I will give that presentation, Jackie. Could I just drop it? I think it might be easier. So first off, I want to thank members and staff for really pulling together for this topic area. There's been a number of communications going out, and I did just want to point out that the communications that Betsy spoke to with the 80,000, I think, viewpoints on it, it was really well received, and kudos to our communication staff for coming up with that. It's one that I think was one of the first ones out, and one that other CAs looked to and really copied but built on that. So that's I'm really pleased with the communications on that aspect. So as you know, we had a fulsome discussion on the proposed consolidation at our November 19th meeting, and you passed a motion against the proposed consolidation and advocating for more consultation with the ministry on this topic. Town Centre has followed suit with a very similar motion. as has Southwold. Again, very similar, against the proposed consolidations, but a willingness and a request from the province to work and collaborate with everyone involved in this. Malahide, I did a delegation to that council, and they passed a motion in support of both Kettle and Catfish's resolutions on this topic, and also directed staff to do a submission to the ERO. And so they're undertaking that. Middlesex Centre has 5 CAs in their jurisdiction, and they'll be taking a report on their agenda this evening.
Yeah, it will be 4. Okay, we'll support it.
St. Thomas, Lori and Jim worked hard to bring the motion in front of council under a notice of motion. Unfortunately, it did fail on a 4-4 vote, tie vote. Central Elgin brought forward a motion again from the perspective of both CAs, and it was a non-support, and again advocating for more engagement with the ministry on this topic. The motion, similar motion was brought to the City of London's council yesterday afternoon under a notice of motion as well. Unfortunately, it did fail. But the mayor, Morgan, has agreed, or at least indicated within the meeting, that he intends to reach out to local mayors to have a discussion and submit comments either directly to local MPs or to the minister once that discussion has happened. So while the motion failed, I think there's definitely interest from the City of London to continue the discussion, and in some form we'll be providing comments to the province.
And excuse me, Elizabeth, and just on that point, yesterday I was in a meeting, and the clerk came in and indicated that Mayor Morgan wanted to have a round table sometime in January, so keep it posted as to agenda items, but I think this will be largely part of it. Go ahead.
That's good. So in terms of neighboring CAs, again, very similar motions being passed both at Lower Towns, Catfish Creek, Upper Towns, and Essex Region Conservation Authority, and LPCR's Long Point, passing a very similar motion. There's been lots of organic responses from the community as well, as I mentioned, as a result of our social campaign that board members have been doing, and the advocacy of this hitting various agendas at councils. This was an email that came in from the Elgin County Drowning Prevention Coalition, and I just thought it was interesting from their perspective of how they value the local CAs and the work that we do around flooding, as well as drowning prevention in our conservation authorities. So just to show support there. Just other emails, people emailing staff that they support the board's resolution and don't believe that 7 authorities will give them the local support that they've come to enjoy with their local CAs. Bigger is not better is often a sentiment that's coming out, and likening it to the amalgamation of the Elgin County School Board. Recognition of the critical work that we do locally, that this is a bad idea and that this proposal will be too cumbersome to manage. I did want to briefly say that Conservation Ontario will be coming out with their own comments. We've considered a draft at the council meeting last week, and I expect that they will have their finalized draft any day, and I'll share that with members as well. But pleased to say, generally across the province, each CA kind of coming in with the same concerns, whether it's the proposed Lake Erie region or the Huron region, the concerns are quite similar. There was consultation meetings that the province has hosted across the province. I believe there was 4 scheduled across the province, with the last one being held in London last Friday for the Lake Erie and Huron Todd is away and so was unable to attend, and I did reach out to the other members. Each CA and municipality should have received an invite. But each organization was only allowed to name 2 representatives to attend the consultation. So I did recommend to members if they could get under their municipal invitation, that would be better. And that allowed Lori to attend as the Kettle rep as well. Grant Jones did attend with us. And Sharon intended to, but was sick that day. Overall, I think Kettle was well represented around the table, and the session, I think, was well represented as well. Just to give an update on the session, it didn't allow for any opportunity for questions and answers, so it wasn't formulated in that manner. There was a brief presentation from the minister. He did not attend. He gave a video reading. And then Hassan Bassett was in attendance and gave, I would say, about a 45-minute presentation on the province's what he called business case for efficiencies. He did say that the status quo is not an option, but they do want to co-design the future where the tether between the CAs and the province is reestablished. We spoke a lot about this, that the historical way that the CAs were created, where they were very much working in concert with the province, has been diluted over the decades. And they're very much interested in reestablishing that tether, and he sees this proposal as a means to do that. He did stress that the changes will occur over time and not overnight. That the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency likened it to an hourglass, with the agency being the pinch in the hourglass in the middle. So he's saying the agency will make business cases for the CAs to the province and help the CAs by determining their needs and centralizing procurement. This proposal is not an erosion of power. He did mention, there's been a lot of announcements over the past 5 years. In each one of those announcements, it appears that the CAs their power has been eroded. So, for example, a couple of years ago, we were no longer allowed to comment on natural heritage. He's saying this announcement is not likened to an erosion of power. It's about consolidating governance and administration, and to redirect resources to the front line. The province, he mentioned a number of times, and it goes back to this co-design. They don't believe they've prejudged the outcome. They're willing to listen. And he welcomed what he called optionality in our comments. Would be helpful.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just continue and then I'll open it up for questions. So the overarching messages that we have included in our response to the ERO is that the proposal to consolidate 36 CAs into 7 regions lacks sufficient detail or assurances on how local decision-making, knowledge, and community involvement will be preserved in the regional model. We're really advocating for a cost-benefit analysis and meaningful consultations with municipalities and stakeholders to get to a better consolidation that works for both the province, but maintains that local decision-making and local input. The message to the province is we remain committed to modernization. We feel like we've been doing that over the past 5 years, but we're never going to risk local program delivery at the expense of modernization. And it remains unclear why we can't achieve the province's goal within this existing framework. So we framed the response to the ERO based on those 5 questions that the province is asking. So they're asking about key factors for success or transition to an outcome. And we're saying success would involve preserving the municipal representation and local governance. Regional representation on the OPCA is important. It's apt to use existing processes first before looking at consolidation. The province must fund this entire project, including the expenses of the Provincial Conservation Authority. We need to protect and enhance their existing service levels and do due diligence on the legal and financial aspects of this consolidation. And also advocate that the local CA boards maintain intact past 2026. The province has said this is not going to occur overnight, but at the same time, we're also saying it's going to be effective 2027. That I can't wrap my head around how that would happen with the amount of legal, financial moving parts that would need to be addressed in a consolidation of this size. So I think it's very important to advocate that the CA boards be maintained past 2026 to help with those transition plans. The potential opportunities or benefits, the responses to that question are pretty light. It's hard to ascertain benefits of this consolidation. However, I think there is opportunities for provincial funding to be reestablished, especially as it pertains to mapping. Province can provide additional support and technical guidance, and there is a possibility for e-permitting. In terms of governance structures and considerations, again, our big push is to reduce the geographical area of the consolidation and create functional boards. Once you get to a board size of 30 members, it becomes unwieldy, and I think it's going to be very difficult to come to a 30-member board size in a consolidation of this region. We should look to the Lake Erie Source Protection Region governance model as an option. So you'll hear a lot of CAs talk about, can we go to the source protection regions? It's much more manageable to size. I think would also advocate that we could look for the governance structure of the source protection regions as well, in where each CEA continues to have their own board and their own governance, but it's being led, or there's a lead CA providing guidance and resources to that lower tier. The maintain municipal appointments is necessary for those regional CAs, and there should be municipal representation on the OPCA as well. In terms of maintaining transparent consultative budgeting processes, again, province should fund this. There should be fair apportionment that looks at rural versus urban. And the existing CAs should remain in place to look after their own budget and financial statements. Maintaining and strengthening local relationships. We've talked about this last month, where the local offices and the local staff and the local decision making should stay in place to maintain those relationships. So I am looking for a motion today that support for that draft ER response and direction that the chair and vice chair and general manager be authorized to prepare and finalize those comments to be posted to the ARO before December 22nd, giving us an opportunity to incorporate any feedback or comments that you have on those that draft response today, that the chair, vice chair, and I would work together to finalize that and submit it.
And got his hand up there.
Yep, I'd like to move that.
Okay, can we ask questions?
Yeah, I was just going to.
I'll second it.
Okay, thanks, Jim. So we have a mover and a seconder, but at this point, I think that this conversation is for some talk, for the talk. So go ahead, Frank.
Well, when I read all of these, AMO came out with their resolution, everybody's seen that. And I looked at some of the other conservation authorities. The essence of all of this is stop this for the moment and discuss, especially with the municipalities. And I don't see how they're gonna save money. It's gonna cost us. to do this, but I like what you said about they should absorb the cost. And I brought this up before. They untethered everything due to lack of funding. They did it. And now they're saying, well, we gotta get retethered. They gotta come on with more than 1%, and if they want standardization, buy the software and sublicense it to all the conservation authorities. They could do all those kinds of things. But yeah, so I think that's the general, if everybody agrees, that's the general essence of it, and I would agree with it. I don't think our municipality has been contacted by anybody to talk about this. And certainly the MPPs, well, okay, Flack is around here, but he's a minister, so he would be in the inner circle, but they don't seem to know what's going on either, other than this is going on. They're not prepared to talk against this. Okay, I've said enough. It's another top-down thing. Where I think and I'll say it in the open, the rumor is the development community has the ear of the premier, and so in other places, I don't think here, conservation authorities are kind of blocking development for real reasons like this. They don't want floodplain development. They want to preserve species at risk, that kind of stuff. So I'll stop there, and those are some of my comments. I don't see anything wrong with how we're run here. I mean, I don't see a ton of money being wasted across the conservation authorities. It's, you know, it's pretty much, we're living close to what we have in the way of money. And okay, that's enough.
Thank you, Frank. Anyone else?
Through
Jim?
the chair. Well, my first comment is to go to a meeting that you guys went to, couldn't ask any questions. That's totally disappointing, because they're not really interested in what you want to say. They don't have the answers anyway yet. I think this is it's going to happen. How it's going to happen, is it going to be 7, is it going to be 15, going to be 20? Don't know how the division is going to take place, but they're telling you it's going to happen. I think it'll change every month. There'll be changes, there'll be changes, there'll be changes. And we have to continually putting input in what you want, what want to happen, what want to stay. So it's a work in progress. We can sit around and ask 50 questions. No one's giving any answers yet. So it's probably going to happen. But one of the questions at our council meeting was they don't support 36, but they can't support 7. It's got to be a happy medium somewhere. But how that would ever play out, no idea, because of all the funding involved and the finance, all that stuff. So we'll be talking this all next year. Every month, for every meeting, we'll be talking about it. Maybe there'll be updates, don't know. But I think it's a typical thing. They've told you a year in advance it's going to happen. I mean, it's all the people, all the municipalities are putting their comments in. Maybe they're looking at them. I don't know, but they must have a plan how it's going to play out. So we can talk to the wall all day. We don't know the answers. We don't know what's going to happen, except something's going to happen in a year, 2027. So anyway, just my comment. Thank you. Thanks for your hard work, Elizabeth, too, on it. It's frustrating for you people too to watch this happen. So anyway, thanks.
Any other comments?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, sitting in a meeting on Friday, it was very clear that from around I think it was 11 tables, the same message kept going out that this area that proposed is way too large. It's not manageable, and a lot of concerns around that. I think the idea of the source water protection structure and size may fly. It seemed to be support for that in theory. Yeah, it was nice to see that we had a great cross section of mayors, council members, board members, general managers, and I think that sent a message that this just isn't a conservation issue. It's all of our issue, and that was one positive. They did make sure that we weren't able to speak. They shut that down pretty quick with the round table discussions. But the same message kept coming up. This area is way too big. There's no way of managing it, and hopefully they're listening. We'll see.
Thank you, Grant. Anyone else?
Jerry, I have my hand up. Sorry, I had my hand up.
Oh, I'm so.
Can't see your hand.
Didn't see you, Jerry. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And through the chair, Elizabeth, first of all, thank you and your team for your prompt updates and responses. You were actually, honestly, the first ones that always received it. I was, by the way, as was mentioned by Elizabeth yesterday, and just so you know, I was against the motion that was in front of us. I have to state that in last 3 weeks, I've changed quite a bit my view and position. And I'll tell you the reason why is the Thames River, Upper Thames came up with the Thames River regulated area map update. And I'll tell you, it was no one from the, just so you know, from big developers or developing community. Many residents reached out to me and they are going through a lot of issues in terms of the new updated mapping. I'm not going to go into the detail, and I will have a meeting with Upper Thames in January. But these decisions that have been made in terms of the erosion and flood lines very negatively affect many of my residents. When I started to look deeper into it, kind of, and looking how other conservation areas did it, everyone is using the different model. No one is doing, and I think it's very unfair that some Ontarians will be treated differently and not the same as everyone else in our province. And there was a moment that I actually said to myself, could this actually be a potential advantage if we actually have less and not so many? But again, it's not a based on current information I have, it wouldn't be a fair comment. But when I talk to my residents, I did tell them in advance that when this comes to the council yesterday, I will not be supporting it, and I will not be supporting it at the Kettle Creek also. I don't know if Kettle Creek, if we have any issues with residents with the new erosion flood lines, but in London we do, or certainly I do quite a few in my ward. And yeah, I'm not gonna go into the detail because I still have to have a meeting with Upper Thames, but I just want to let you know that. And when it comes to the voting, so you're not also surprised, my position and my main reason for voting that way. Thank you. If you have any questions, comments, or towards even what I said, I'm very much open to it. But I just want to say my reasoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Anyone else with a comment?
Madam Chair, just one last.
Yes, go ahead, Grant.
Thank you. Yeah, and I forgot to add that, no, I haven't heard from Mayor Morgan either.
I'm sorry, I missed that, Grant. Could you repeat that?
I just said I did not receive any communications from Mayor Morgan with a meeting.
Oh, okay. I don't know whether it's formalized yet. I think they're looking for a date. You're talking about the Mayor's Roundtable, are you, Grant?
Yes.
I think we were just kind of given a heads up yesterday afternoon that Mayor Morgan wanted to hold one of these in January, and that there would be more details coming down. So whether they're going to try to collectively select a date and whatever else, I'm not sure. But I think that will be coming. You would have comment.
My comment is for this whole process. I don't quite understand why any municipality, especially municipalities around this table and at the greater level, would erode willingly their responsibilities to the taxpayer. That this is a taxpayer funded, that we are in St. Thomas, for example, 30% responsible for the KCCA funding. The province is responsible for 2%. So we are, in essence, talking about giving up our municipal responsibilities to something that is local, that people care about locally, that people use and foster locally, the volunteers, not just the staff and administration and the board, but the volunteers and the people who recreate on our local lands. And to have that willingly give up for the larger province, I am having big struggles. And to continue to say so on Friday, to Brand's point, They didn't allow much for consultation with the people around the table, with the tables that were present. They broke the KCC up into 3 different tables. And with that, allowed 5 questions, and then we were to present back with 1 representative from each table, what we had proposed on 2 of those. So they gave us 5, asked for feedback on 2, and then we submitted our hard copy back to the people there. So there was no opportunity for back and forth engagement. It was just, as you stated, very top down on the consultation process as well. So again, that's what I'm having a hard time with. Is we are so heavily engaged in the KCCA and the KCCA lands. And this is, for me, very difficult to deal with and see how it's moving forward at a rapid speed without those public consultations moving at that same speed.
Okay, Laurie, thank you. I'm just gonna add, I wasn't at the meeting, but what came back to me from the representatives from Tim Center who were there was a great deal of frustration around the table from that lack of, just the same sort of thing that you're talking about, going back and forth. The other thing that I think is sticking in my mind, bigger, we all know, is not better, and cost efficiencies are not necessarily realized by amalgamation, and all we have to do is look back to other days when municipalities were amalgamated, and there were winners, there were losers. It wasn't necessarily the best thing for everyone. So I really do believe that we need to continue to try to work with the provincial government to realize that maybe there are changes that need to be made, in particular in some areas versus others. But I think at this point, it's a wrong-handed approach to try and take huge municipalities. I even think of the site work, for example, in a planning application. Is somebody realistically from this part of the region going to go to this part of the region? I mean, I think that there's a whole lot of little issues that we do as conservation authorities that need the government's attention. Anyway, that's me. And Sam, go ahead. I can't see it from that side.
Thank you very much. I want everybody on this board and the staff people to go to the City of London YouTube recording of last night's meeting and watch it. I want everybody to do that. Because I don't think people here, with the exception perhaps of myself, well, some of you may have already watched it. The level of hostility, the level of distrust, the level of opposition that was coming out of most of our councillors. It wasn't a close vote. I think it was 3-9 or maybe it was 4-8, but it wasn't a close vote. You have to listen to that recording to understand this level of hostility. And I think we need to be asking ourselves where this comes from. And in the case of London, I know exactly where it comes from. In the case of London, there was a Section 28 application that was denied, that overruled. It was a 7-8 vote on City Council to approve a drive-through in a floodplain in Jerry's ward. And of course, there was a staff recommendation against it, not putting a drive-through literally a drive-through on a floodplain. And that's where our council is at. They're so influenced by the developers. And what becomes clear is that it's the conservation authorities that do constitute the sober second thought and the last vestige of any kind of public interest in these types of developments. And yes, it's true. Council did not receive any explicit lobbying in our council packet. But you see, it's all done behind the scenes. It's all done behind the scenes. So the fact that we didn't receive anything on the record doesn't mean anything. Because the way it's done in London, it's done behind the scenes. And this is why some of us are going to be bringing forward a lobby registry. But I just want to say how appalled I was at the level of hostility, misinformation, and distortion that most of the people on the London City Council demonstrated last night. I certainly am going to be supporting the recommendation on the floor, and I personally am going to start engaging in more targeted advocacy. I didn't think this would be as difficult as it was, but something very bad is going on. And the fact that it's the two larger cities, St. Thomas, which was a close vote, as I understand it, and London, which was not a close vote, is cause for concern. And I think it speaks to the influence that the development industry has over land use matters. And the other thing I'd want to raise is, has the province done any consultation under their duty to consult with First Nations? I don't think so. And the fact that they would not do that does not surprise me. And I see that Councillor Pribble has his hand up, so I think I'd just like to yield to him, and maybe I'll come back and say a few more things.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I just want to reiterate things that I said a few minutes ago. In last 3 weeks, and based on Sam's comments, there was not one single business that reached out to me. It was now no commercial. It was all people that were 65-year plus who have their homes, lived there all their lives, and they are being very negatively influenced by the Upper Thames regulated area map update. So I just want to reiterate that, because it's really, I don't know if Sam was steering this way, but honestly, last 3 weeks, I have many individuals, no businesses, no business, no commercial, no one reached out to me about this. It was all private people. So I just want to state that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. And Sam, a further comment?
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised, because I think certainly the deputy mayor led off the charge, and I don't really know who contacted the deputy mayor about this. I mean, they sit in the gallery, they see everything that's going on, so I'm not surprised they didn't contact you, Jerry. But it's like, in all due respect, Jerry, I was very disappointed with your failure to even acknowledge how well run this particular conservation area is. And you know, there was so much hostility to the Upper Thames because of some of the decisions they've made. But it's like, I really think, in fairness, at least for the City of London, something more could have been said for Lower Thames and Kettle Creek. But I just think it was just so much anger and hostility in the room. And I'm really disappointed in you, Jerry, that you didn't say something about how well run this particular agency is. So I'm going to just leave this by saying shame on you.
Okay, I think at this point, we can't bring the city politics into the discussion.
Well, it's not funny, Jerry. You're laughing.
And gentlemen, maybe you can have a sidebar. At this point, Jerry, your hand is still up. Are you looking to say something else? I see. Or
no, do you know what? Sorry, it was still up from last time. Sam, my love was not about the issue, which I do think it's crucial. And I'll tell you right now, some of the people in my ward, and as you know, yesterday I was steering it towards Stoll in my ward. They are crying. They're in your age and they are crying to me. Okay, so it's not laughing matter at all. I'm just laughing because I think, based on your comments from council to this board, are totally inappropriate. That's why I was laughing. But matter, it's very crucial. And if you had people crying on your shoulder like me, maybe you would feel differently. No commercial business owners, no developers, no more. Thank you.
thank you, gentlemen. Jerry, do you want to take your hand down or are you looking to say? Sorry,
He's
okay,
gone.
thank you, thank you. Jim,
Through the chair, to Elizabeth, has there been any opportunity to get a group in this area to meet with Rob Flack, discuss concerns with him? See what his thoughts are, or are we still we're all kind of different, like we're grouped together, but it'd be nice to have the opportunity to sit down with him and see what he has to say with all this, give you a better direction of what's gonna happen.
Through the chair to Jim, the GMs of the region, of the proposed region have been meeting regularly and sharing outreach and things like that. There have been requests to meet with Rob and other MPs, and so far we haven't had a response.
You got asked to meet in that response?
Yeah, I haven't asked personally, but I can ask personally from this board's perspective to meet with Rob. I can make that request.
Thank you.
JJ,
Yeah, through the chair,
and then John.
but just my observation in all of this is that none of the problems that are being raised get solved by amalgamating the conservation authorities. Standardization, you can do that. And so, for instance, the problems with, you know, one area is using a different process for defining like floodplain areas is different than another. You can standardize that, but imagine if it's not now. This individual citizen is dealing, and city councilors are dealing with a massive. You are just speaking. Rather than speaking with the one conservation authority where you feel you have that problem, now imagine that it's this whole big region and you're just a drop in the water of that. I think that nothing that is being proposed is targeting the problems at hand.
Right. John.
I'd just like to thank Elizabeth for coming to our council meeting. It was fantastic for everyone on it to hear what the ins and outs of things actually are instead of rumors and whatever else. And you know, as soon as they announced that they were doing this, my initial email to everyone was just, unfortunately, the rural places are going to be paying the price for city problems. And it's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I don't know what they're going to take to make them realize that, but keep fighting.
All right.
Those comments were in the article picked up by Lumber Express.
Okay.
So it was good to read them. Thank you.
Frank.
Just for clarification through you to Elizabeth, so Upper Thames has revamped they revamped their floodplain, right? And the revamping reflects climate change, I presume, so I don't know what maybe you can comment on it, it's gonna be an issue in a lot of places. So those people that now live in the new floodplain are gonna have a problem with insurance and probably selling their property, there'll be devaluation. But I don't know how you fix it, it's like property matters. When you make a decision, it's always gonna affect somebody negatively. So I don't know, overcome that, but I don't know if there's grandfathering in, is there? You wouldn't grandfather in anybody, no. You just have to say, here's the new floodplain, and everybody's gonna have to kind of deal with it. Can you comment on that?
I don't want to comment on, through the chair to Frank, I don't want to comment on what's happening at another CA. I can speak generally about floodplain mapping and the standard across the province. It is true that different CAs, by virtue of the regulation that was established back when the authorities were established, different CAs have different floodplain regulation. So for instance, here at the Kettle, we regulate to Hurricane Hazel, which is a very conservative storm. Other CAs are regulating to a lesser storm. So it could be the 100-year storm. So that does create a discrepancy across the province. That was included as part of our comments on the ERO, that is one way that the province can solve issues without consolidation, is to look at the province and establish a standard regulation that everyone's following. When we do updated floodplain mapping, which now each CA is at various stages of updating their floodplain mapping, when you do an updated floodplain mapping, it's now in regulation that you do the update floodplain mapping. And then you have to go out for public consultation on that. So the updated floodplain lines would be presented to the board, and then it would go out for a 30-day public consultation where those landowners would be advised of the updated floodplain mapping and then have the opportunity to voice concerns before the board finalizes that floodplain mapping.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And I see, Jerry, you have your hand again? Go ahead.
Thank you, and through the chair, I just want to make kind of comment that was asked by Frank. Yes, there are two things, and you're right, that there are certain decisions that are made that will never be probably 100% for the entire population in favor, some of them more in negative way. But my big issue is actually now that again in the province of Ontario, various CAs and everyone is many are using different models. And I do have an issue with that because at the end, probably the Upper Thames was supposed to have this on the agenda on December. Now it's moved to January. I'm glad that I'm going to be meeting with them before, but this is my issue that some of the Ontarians, and again, going back to it, and it was the first time, honestly, that I said to myself, is there potentially advantage of having only 7 instead of the 36? And I think that was my point. So Frank, you are right. All the decisions we'll make at our council will never be beneficial probably to 100%, but I have an issue with each CA using different model and being Ontarians being treated, some of them more favorably than the other ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are we finished with discussion on this, or is there anyone else with a comment before we move on?
We'll have 12 months of comments.
I'm sorry?
We'll have 12 months of comments.
You go. I'm sure this is not going to be the first or last of this conversation. All right, if there's nothing else before, then we have a recommendation before us that staff report on the draft response to ERO posting number 025-1257 be received, and further that the chair, vice chair, and general manager be authorized to prepare and finalize comments on the posting in advance of the December 22nd, 2025 deadline, and that is coming up quickly.
Yeah.
A mover and a seconder. Moved by,
Sorry, Chair, I have a mover of Sam Trousseau and it was seconded by Jim.
Yeah.
that's true, that's true. Okay, so call the roll.
Lori Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Hill.
No.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion carries.
All right, then we, 2025 year-end expenditures, we'll look to Elizabeth for this, please.
Sorry, Chair, can we just go back one item? We didn't get a motion to accept the correspondence, and based on the topic, I would like to have the motion to accept.
Oh, certainly. I'll move her in seconder to accept that. John and JJ.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Fribble.
Yes.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
And McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, now we'll move on to the year-end expenditures.
So staff are expecting a positive year-end position, mainly to do because the campgrounds had a successful camping seasons. They both exceeded the revenue targets, and we received a second WSIB rebate in November for the year 2024. So That's in addition to the rebate that we received earlier in the year for 2023. So I am recommending that a portion of that year-end surplus be directed to some unbudgeted expenditures. We always keep a list of operational items that are needed. And if we have a good year, that we would direct funds towards that. This year, we're proposing some drainage and parking lot repairs at Lake Whitaker Conservation Area for a total of 15. It was already budgeted to upgrade the carpet in the basement in the hallway. You can see the rippling carpet out front. That was a budgeted item, but we're also looking at some office furniture and lighting for some of our new staff members. And the replacement of radios at both Lake Whitaker and Dalewood Conservation Area. These are radios that are dedicated with a dedicated channel. And they're in need of replacing, so the recommendation is to replace those. So the total estimated cost for those year-end expenditures would be $35,000 shared between the various departments. And the recommendation is that we proceed with those expenditures with an upset limit of 35.
Okay. It's moved by Grant, a seconder, seconded by Jim. Any discussion?
Good.
Seeing none, call for it then.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes,
Herbert.
yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Fribble.
Yes.
Drybosh.
Yes.
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
And McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, year-end reserve report, Elizabeth.
This is a standard report again at year end, going back, so we do expect a positive year-end position, anywhere from 100 to 150,000. Again, for the same reasons that I mentioned before. Did have a budgeted drawdown of reserves of 237. I don't expect that would be needed at year end. And you saw the advanced report, the proposed pushes and pulls. Mainly what I'm recommending is that most of the budgeted transfers are not going to be required. And that I would be pushing any year-end surplus mainly to the wage subsidy reserve as well as the conservation lands management reserve for future planned purchases in 2026 and beyond. So the motion is that the transfers to and from reserves be conducted as outlined in the approved budget in the year-end reserve report.
Okay, a mover and seconder for that report, moved by Frank and seconded by JJ, certainly. Okay, come vote.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Fribble.
Yes.
Drybosh.
Yes.
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
And McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, then moving on to the 2026 budget update, capital expenditures.
So the draft 26 budget and municipal apportionment was sent out after a November meeting. To date, we've received no comments back on that budget, either from municipalities or members of the public from being posted publicly on the website. The last portion to be fed into the budget is our capital purchases for next year. And annually we review the fleet against life expectancy, maintenance costs and things of that nature. We are recommending a replacement of one truck and trailer. The full expenditure for 2026 of capital is 229,000. Again, it was highlighted in the advanced package, but includes that vehicle, a trailer. Computers is always a standard staged amount per year. And then we're finishing off the carpet replacement in the office with the carpet in the boardroom being replaced or scheduled to be replaced next year. We have a budgeted zero-turn lawnmower to be replaced for significant areas. Pooled assets is a standard capital item. And we budgeted 80,000 for possible cabin expansion or hydro upgrades at Lake Whitaker. $30,000 to replace the roof, eaves troughs, and doors at the gatehouse. And again, just the hold, road signs assets, at Lake Whitaker. Following year end, there might be some additional items that I would add back into this budget, just because we do expect that some capital items this year have been delayed because of the early snow, and we might have to push some items to 2026, but I will bring a full update to the board members at the January meeting once I know what projects we're able to accomplish. So right now, the motion is that the proposed capital purchases be incorporated into the draft budget for presentation in January.
Okay, a mover and seconder for that. Moved by John, seconded by, who am I
Oh,
seeing?
there we go.
Oh, Grant.
Question,
Any questions?
just a quick one. Do we have an asset management plan? Like, we do, okay, that's all. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, call the vote.
Lori Baldwin Sands.
Yes,
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes,
Jones.
Yes.
Cribble.
Yes.
Drybosh.
Yes,
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes,
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, then the last item on the agenda, the December planning and regulations report. Who's doing that?
Chair, I will take it, Lisa's at a meeting this morning. The report was in your advanced packages. Unless there's any questions, it would simply be that the December planning and regulations activity report you received.
Okay, someone to move that motion, Lori, seconder, Jim? Vote then, if the-
Baldwin Sands.
yes,
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Cribble.
Yes.
Drybosh.
yes,
Trousseau.
Yes.
Wilson.
yes.
And McMillan.
Yes,
And that motion passes.
okay. Are we going into closed session?
We are.
Okay. Motion for closed session. Lori, seconder. JJ. I'm guessing all in favor.
All right, yes, you're all.
All right then.